Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sharon Stroy. I am the Director of Public Engagement in the School of Public Affairs and Administration. I would like to welcome you to our student panel. And it is a student panel discussing being a SPAA ambassador. This week, March 20th to the 24th of Friday, which is tomorrow, is Rutgers Giving Days. And Rutgers Giving Days is an opportunity for the Rutgers community to support, donate, give back to the community that may have given so much to individuals. In the School of Public Affairs, in the midst of COVID in 2020, we launched the inaugural SPAA Ambassador Program. The SPAA Ambassador Program is a multi-tier leadership program for all of the School of Public Affairs Administration students to engage in a leadership opportunity. We have students who are undergraduate, students in our accelerated BA, MPA, master students in the master's program, public administration, online and on campus. And the SPAA Ambassador Program provides a small stipend for students to take on leadership roles to help drive to help lead the vision for the administration, faculty, and staff. And so during this week, we wanted to highlight some of our former SPAA ambassadors, as well as to highlight current students who are interested in becoming SPAA ambassadors. But it is my pleasure to introduce Ifeoma Onwuka, who was part of the inaugural cohort of SPAA ambassadors. And what we lovingly call her is Effie. She's going to share a little bit about herself. Also, why did she become a SPAA ambassador in our inaugural year in the middle of COVID when everything was virtual? So Effie, say hello to our audience and just tell a little bit about your experience in the SPAA Ambassador Program.
Everyone, thank you, Director Stroy, for introducing me. I joined the School of Public Administration and Affairs in 2020, when the pandemic was still live and well, and everything was still pretty virtual. And I felt a little disconnected from my peers and from professors. So I wanted to be a SPAA ambassador to really get that interaction, that interpersonal interaction with my peers, and to put myself out there. I'm just a learner who really loves to study with people, to learn about other people. That's just kind of how I've always been. So I still, okay, got it. So I still remember emailing Director Stroy after I had applied. I never met Director Stroy a day of my life, but I really wanted to be a SPAA ambassador. And I remember emailing you and just saying, hey, I'm just so interested. Did you get my application? And just really putting myself out there. So yeah, that's why I joined. And I met an amazing group of women. It was all women during the with the inaugural cohort, I believe. I don't think there was any men in that cohort, and they were all in different aspects of their journey. And I was a part of the community building committee. So that was amazing. We just developed a lot of initiatives. It helped with our leadership abilities. We met professors across the campus. We talked to other prospective students. It was just amazing. It was a great way to really embed yourself into the school and really be a part of the Rutgers community. So definitely, if you're interested, it's a great opportunity, and you also get a stipend, and you get to work with amazing, well-rounded professionals in their career path. So definitely join.
So, Ify, share with the audience what you are currently working on, what you're currently doing, and how did your experience in the SPA Ambassador program help you with your current career trajectory?
Okay, so I am currently a first generation clinical trauma-informed social work student. So I am a little bit out of the school of public affairs and administration, which is okay, because I think that the experience definitely helped me with my leadership abilities, connecting with other members. I'm a Rutgers girl, that's what I always say. Went to undergrad, now I'm in grad school. I've just been in Rutgers all my life. So I would definitely say that being a SPA ambassador has helped me. Right now I am a student president for my program. And I was definitely able to like be comfortable in voicing my opinions with professors. That's something Director Story um, really pushed in all of us, that we shouldn't be afraid of our voice. We shouldn't be afraid of like saying what we need from our student body and from our professors, and just like Rutgers, because we're a part of this community, we should share our opinion. So I definitely am very upfront with what I need from my professors now in my program, and I'm able to come into that relationship, um, making sure that it's like symbiotic, right? It's not just I'm just paying money and I'm not getting anything out of my experience. So I definitely got that from SPA, because that was the first time that I was like setting meetings for professors. It was very jarring. I was like, hey, we're gonna meet at this time. And they're like, good, yep, got it. And I was like presenting PowerPoints to professors, and it was a really great experience. It was great.
Awesome. Welcome, Chastity. So glad you can join us. Please understand that the School of Public Affairs Administration students, as well as the alumni, have multiple roles, managing multiple responsibilities. And it is such a pleasure that we're able to have Chastity Gooden-Clyne join us, who was part of the second cohort of SPA ambassadors. So Chastity, please share with the audience what you're currently doing and why did you want to be a SPA ambassador during your time here?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I apologize for my tardiness. As Director Shore just shared, many responsibilities. I just picked up my daughter. So I currently am a practice manager with Hackensack Meridian. However, I am going to be transitioning into a new role within the next couple of weeks, and I'm so excited. It's actually going to be based in Newark with Newark Community Health Centers. So I'll be taking my talents there as a practice administrator. During my time at Rutgers, also a Rutgers girl, I did my undergraduate with New Brunswick and Camden, and then I did my master's at Rutgers Newark, and now I'm currently pursuing my doctorate in health sciences at University of Bridgeport. So I cannot get enough school. But one of the reasons I decided to become a SPA ambassador was because I wanted to be involved at my school with the community. I was never really big on student leadership, but I saw a lot of changes that needed to be implemented. And I've always been that person that I felt that the best way to be a part of that change is to join and to really have that voice and to give that space to other students, because we're the ones that drive the school. And that was something that Director Stroy really pushed for us to do, to make everything student driven, to make sure that we give that space to one another and that we network with one another. During my time as a SPA ambassador, we were able to have different programs where we were able to listen to other alum, to hear their stories, how they got to where they were. And it was really that professional development that kind of drove to me, like there's other avenues that I could explore. And so that's why I chose to do something more community-based. And one of the biggest challenges during my time as a SPA ambassador was the gala. It was a great time. It was something that required a lot of planning, but not for nothing, it really prepared me for my next role as a practice manager, because I saw the importance of budgeting. I saw the importance of making sure you have everything in place to really have a successful event. And more importantly, it was something that was really team oriented, and I wasn't used to that. So I was able to take those skills and translate them to my current position. How do I drive retention within my employees? I was able to get involved with community outreach, and that's really what prompted me to do something that's more community-based with my degree. I was able to table with different health fairs, and I was able to travel to different cities, and really just being able to set that up kind of stemmed from my SPAA Ambassador experience. And so I'm happy to say that I'm going to be working in a community back in Newark, and to be able to take the skills and translate them again. I've even had friendships come out of SPAA Ambassadors. There's some ambassadors that we kept in touch, and we're still close to this day. I still plan to be involved with the Rutgers community, and especially at Rutgers Newark. So it's an experience that I'm very glad that I did, especially since it wasn't something that I was used to. In high school, I never did student government. In college, you hear about people getting elected for things, and I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing, like the student body. And I don't know, the older you get, you kind of forget those things exist. But to really take the feedback from other students that I was getting that were involved in the same program, setting up meetings with Dean Gibbs, so that way students had their voices heard, I really felt like I was a part of implementing change. And even now, to be able to come back as a panelist and speak with you all, once I have acquired my degree and now I have a little bit more experience, it's a full circle moment. It really is. So I'm really happy to see you all. I'd love to answer any questions.
Awesome. So Chastity, because your cohort and each cohort built on the next cohort. And so because of, in that first inaugural cohort, I don't know what luck I had that particular year, but I had 10 of the most amazing students, leaders that completely transformed the SPAA Ambassador program to where it is now and officially a staple in the school. And then the second cohort put together a gala, which now has become the SPAA Ambassador Award ceremony that we will host every year in April, but we will also invite alumni back to speak. So it's an opportunity to recognize students, not just SPAA students, but students across Rutgers University Newark, who are exemplifying the values of SPAA, but also an opportunity to connect to our alumni. So we will have a SPAA alumni be the keynote speaker at the annual SPAA Ambassador Award ceremony. And so that is now a standard in an institution in SPAA, led by students, designed by students, organized by students, and somebody will be emceeing this year's event as well. And so both of you talked about your experiences as a SPAA ambassador and being able to utilize the skills, but let's get a little more detail. What skill sets did you learn and that you now are able to utilize in all of your different careers? And Effie, for you, how you were able to transition to similar to what Chastity said, into something which you're more passionate about. Let's be specific, what were those skill sets?
You want to go first, or yeah? Okay, well, I'm off mic. Okay. I will say I definitely learned. I was always really good with time management, but I think anyone can tell you that when you get into grad school, it's a different type of time management. It's like and I see you nodding, Chastity. It's like a time management, but in like the professional world. I guess that's the best way I could explain it. Of yes, you still have coursework to do, and yes, you still like have to like submit assignments, but it's time management that is so granular. Like you're like putting in, okay, when am I going to like work out? When am I going to take a break? And I think that when you're taking on another leadership role, such as a SPAA ambassador role, and you're talking with like professors, deans of Rutgers, there is a higher expectation that you are good with time management and you are good with like you're just aware of what you're taking on and respecting people's time. And I think that I definitely, like, my time management skills became very enhanced, so that even when I went now into the program I'm in, where I'm doing an internship, I'm also like working full time as a manager, leadership coach for a nonprofit educational organization. And I'm also, there's something else, and I'm also in school. There's like so many things that you have to be really good with: time management, organizational skills, communication. Believe it or not, you have to be able to communicate with your professors in an efficient manner. So when you're sending out emails, are you able to communicate what you need effectively and quickly? I had to learn that pretty quickly, being a part of the community building committee, because we sent out a lot of emails to students to get their opinions. And you can't just like see an email coming from a student and just say, I'll just respond to this anyway. Like, you need to be able to communicate effectively and say, here's how you can respond back to me. Here's the person who you can reach out to for this information. You just have to be like kind of on top of it. And I learned those skills as a SPAA ambassador.
Thank you, Effie. Chastity.
I 1000% agree. A lot of what you said resonated with me as well. Definitely time management. You don't realize how much time you have until something else is added onto your plate. And you're like, wow, I already made this commitment to get this done. So what do I need to do so that way I can get it done efficiently? I would like to add teamwork, just because I was on the fundraising committee, and initially we had the 3 different subcommittees, and we decided to merge into one. And I'm so glad we did, because we were able to support each other so much more. And so let's say the community subcommittee was going to do something where they were hosting an event. We were able to support them. We were able to make sure that we could support them online and make sure that we're advertising, the marketing committee, that we're supporting one another, because really our strength comes in numbers. And so that was something that I was able to implement at work. Even though I was a manager of my own office, how can I support the rest of the medical group? How can I support the different specialties there? So that way they know that just because I have my own office to take care of doesn't mean that we're not still one team. And I would absolutely like to add communication, just because it's important to be realistic. And a lot of times when we set out to do things, we have the best of intentions, but life happens. And we have to remember that life happens for each and every one of us, but it's one, holding ourselves accountable. Also making sure we're communicate like, hey, this is challenging for me. I need your help. Hey, let me pick your brain on this. What do you think about this? And so the more and more we interacted with one another, we felt more comfortable approaching professors or approaching deans or having those conversations where we can make sure that we're still building the same sense of community, but we're also holding each other accountable, and we're recognizing where we can do better, what our opportunities for growth exist. So I absolutely agree. You don't realize until you look back what you really took from the program, and it's like, wow, that was a time where I was really pushed and I was able to strive and get through and achieve the goal. Because when we first set out to do the gala, we were like, this is a great idea, but then we were like, okay, how realistic are these numbers? How realistic is this timeline? And so it's kind of like getting even project management skills from it too, because you don't realize that, hey, I've never done this before, but now I can confidently say and add that to my resume. Hey, we did this. We were able to produce these numbers. And it was even more so fulfilling when we were able to serve students and we were able to acknowledge the hard work of other students and have alum come back and see their work is continuing on.
Yeah. It was definitely an amazing event. And I believe that event, was it also hybrid, Chastity?
Yes.
So
and I've never been a hybrid host before.
Right. And so we had Chastity served as a hybrid host, and we had I think it was Monica who served as the in-person host. So because we still had people, and we had a significant number of people that were in Zoom virtually that was engaging with Chastity. But the SPAA ambassadors led it. And to that particular event, Monica is now serving as the SPAA Ambassador Program Coordinator. So within the SPAA Ambassador Leadership Program, the SPAA Ambassadors felt the need to develop another leadership role. So when we started with Effie, there were just 10 SPAA Ambassadors, but students were not and at the time, I think it was Rosalind, students had not graduated, so they were still doing it another year. And Rosalind said, well, do you think it's a possibility I can get some enhanced leadership development? So we created the SPAA Ambassador Coordinator role that served as my liaison. And so Rosalind took on that role and led the cohort with Chastity. Then Rosalind actually recommended, we have 2 coordinators this year. Monica is one of them and Shaniqua Evans is the other one. And so they have really taken on the role of moving the SPAA Ambassador program into a completely different place. But it is all student-led and student-driven. And so that's why it's so important. So we have a number of students that are in Zoom that are in the application process. What advice would you give them if they were selected, because we're still in the application phase, if they are selected as a candidate, what advice would you give them?
I'll go first this time. I would definitely say do some self-reflection to ask yourself what you'd like to gain from the program. I'm very big on what you give is what you get. And so this experience can be everything and more if you're willing to give it that. And so I think that it requires, the acknowledgement of, okay, do I want professional growth? Do I want personal growth? And a lot of times you might not realize what else you're looking for until you get in there. Because I wanted no parts of the fundraising committee. I'm going to be completely honest. Anything that has to do with finances, it scares me, but I learned so much. And so once I was able to step out of my comfort zone, that's when I truly learned, like, how do I budget better? What does it look like to do grant writing, to do a proposal that is efficient and it's realistic? So I would definitely say, ask yourself, what can I gain from this? And, do I have the time commitment to do so? And I believe that we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And so if you're willing to put in the work, you will get the results that you're seeking. That's absolutely the first step. And just also asking yourself, if you're willing to put yourself in a space where you can have the communication with other students and other leaders on campus, other faculty members, because you're stepping into rooms where the opportunities are limitless. So just making sure that you really are okay with that and that you're welcoming that growth.
Awesome. Chastity, you're a commercial ready to happen.
That was all
Effie.
SPAA's work.
That was a really great response. I will echo everything Chastity said, and I will also add, it's so interesting because I think that when I applied, I wasn't even thinking about, like, what is the ideal candidate? It was, again, that I just want to put myself in opportunities that force me to grow. And I think that that would be the advice I would give, that if you are trying to be a SPAA ambassador, please come with the expectation that whoever is going to be leading this charge, who you're working with, you're not working in a silo, first off. So this isn't like about a competition of like, I need to be on top. I need to make sure. No, you have to come with the orientation of, okay, I'm going to be working with a lot of bright students that are very strong and very passionate about what they're doing. And the way that I'm starting is not how I'm going to be ending. So it's like a complete transformation. And are you willing to go through discomfort to grow and expand in your abilities, your skills, what you never thought that you can do? I just remember being in this program and Director Story would like say on a meeting, okay, so I need you to do this. And it's like an axe that I've never even heard of before. And you just have people that just believe that you can do it. Like, no, it's not really an option. It's like, okay, I've never done this before. How can I do this? And that's how you lean on your peers, and you guys work together to say, how are we going to get this done? It's not like oh, I've never done this before. Sorry, I can't do it. It's like, no, everyone is looking at you like you can do whatever you put your mind to. You just need to work with each other. So my advice would say, please do not be afraid of asking for help. Please do not take your ego out of this work. Definitely come in with like the mindset of, this is going to force me to grow. And am I in a place where I'm willing to grow and imagine like something I've never imagined for myself before? And then you're the perfect ideal candidate.
And to my response to the question, there is no ideal candidate. And to Chastity's point, what you put into it is what you will get out of it. And it is a student-led program. And one of the things that I'm always say, and I continue to say, you're a student first, you may be working, and you may have other responsibilities, but at the end of the day, you're a student first. And so it doesn't make sense for you to be a SPAA ambassador if your education falls apart. But what you put into it, each person brought their own uniqueness, and they learned how to work together. My role was to serve as an advisor. I'm not charged to lead. Students are charged to lead. Student ambassadors have presented at faculty and the joint faculty and staff meeting. The first cohort, the cohort that Effie was in, created a student survey where we had, and when you're doing surveys, where you have a 35% response rate on a survey is great news. But students designed it, students marketed it, students promoted it, and students came back and presented the results to the dean, faculty, and staff. All I do is, and to Effie's point, provide support and encouragement. Yes, you can do this. And you're right, no wasn't an option. Because I knew you can do it. It wasn't that, it wasn't that you couldn't do it, and you had each other. And that's what the SPAA Ambassador program is about. So I'm going to ask for you, before we get to a couple of last questions, I want you to talk about your future, Chastity and Effie, because right now we have SPAA students who are here, and now they're like, what am I going to do next when they get to graduation? Let's talk about, for you, Effie, the decision to transition. And then for you, Chastity, the decision leading up to graduation and what's next. And why did you make a decision to change your role? So we now want to talk about how the SPAA Ambassador program helped you to navigate to your future. And ultimately, what do you plan to do?
That's a great question. So I have been in management for quite some time. So going to the School of Public Affairs Administration it just made sense, right? It was going to help me in my project management skills. It was going to help me be an effective manager. And that was amazing. And I was able to talk to so many people, get to know Director Stroy, which I will always be thankful for. But it also allowed me to, again, self-reflect, like Chastity has said, and to really think about what is it that I see myself doing outside of like what I'm what I have the skills for. I don't know if that makes sense, but I've always seen myself being a therapist for women and young girls. And so when I went into this school and this program, I realized some of my strengths and my weaknesses, and I took the time to like really hone in on my weaknesses and get a little bit stronger. And then also when you're in this program, it really forces you to be a leader, and it forces you to like take charge of your life and your decisions and and what you're trying to do. So I realized pretty quickly that I needed to take charge of like what I hope my future to be. And that's why I pivoted to this program. I'm in the School of Social Work at Rutgers, so I'm still in Rutgers. But I am in the School of Social Work, and I am in an intensive accelerated program. And I don't think I would have ever joined that if I didn't have that first experience in SPAA. Like, I don't think I would have ever said, okay, I can do this. I've really taken the time to learn my time management skills. I've taken the time to see how grad work is, grad life is. I don't think I would have had that insight. So I will definitely say that SPAA helped me to be confident in the capacity to take on this program. And I'm in it. And it's programming, it's doing what it's doing, but I definitely feel really great. So long-term goal for me is to be a trauma-informed clinical therapist for women and young girls who have experienced abuse and trauma. And that's where my internship is. I'm working with women overcoming substance abuse right now. And it's amazing. Rutgers has so many opportunities. It's just, your life can change in a second.
You know, Effie, I'm sitting here listening to you articulate this career, this trajectory with a completely different level of confidence. Like, you look different. And so to see just this amazing clarity as to what you want to do with your life is what is something that I always want all of our SPAA students to walk away with, to be clear about their purpose, their profession, and what they're passionate for. So Chastity, let's talk about, you completed your master's degree in public administration, and now you are getting ready to, within a matter of a couple of weeks, start a completely different role. Let's talk about that, from graduation to starting a new role, and what do you ultimately want to do?
Sure. And I just wanted to add, it's interesting because as I'm listening to Effie, I'm just like, wow, I know so many social workers. Like, in my mind, I'm like, I can network with her because there's so many opportunities, and that's really what SPAA is all about. So when I applied for the SPAA Ambassador program, I was at the time an HR manager, and it was for an engineering and architecture company. That wasn't something that I planned on doing long term, but I did want the management experience. And I remember when I was doing the interview, I was so nervous because, as I stated before, I've never done any form of like student government, or, you know, I believed that I had leadership qualities, but I didn't know quite what that looked like. And so when I was invited to join the second cohort, I was elated because I was just like, okay, great, they see something in me. But it did take time for me to see the same thing. And, you know, throughout my time in my last year of my graduate program, I did it in 2 years. I chose a concentration of healthcare administration because I've always loved healthcare, but I did know that I didn't necessarily want to be hands-on. I have some clinical experience, but I wanted to take that opportunity to branch more into the administration aspect. And so I love SPAA. I love the curriculum. I believe that it's very diverse. And so even with the program, the ambassador program itself, I was able to connect with other leaders and learn something from my peers. And it was a bit rough just because I then moved up to North Jersey in the middle of my last semester. But, you know, in true fashion, I made it work. And then graduation came. And I then began my role as a practice manager with one of the largest healthcare networks in the tri-state. And so I was able to gain so much more experience, and I was able to translate what I learned in the SPAA Ambassador program, such as like the leadership skills, the time management, communication, But now where I'm at currently, I tend to go back to the community aspect. Newark isn't necessarily my community, but I do see the need there. And that was always something that spoke within my heart. And I remember being able to go to different programs on campus and be able to support other organizations on campus. And I was like, you know what, it's possible. It doesn't necessarily mean, I didn't have to be born and raised in Newark, but it doesn't mean that I can't still be a part of Newark or pretty much translate my vision. And so when I began to do community work with Hackensack Meridian, I fell in love with it. Like, this is the advocacy that I've been like yearning for, because I was just like, I feel like myself. And that is so important as a professional, because it's very easy to accept a position and it could be great money. And we all have different incentives for why we do what we do. Hold on for one moment, please. Yes, Amelia. Okay. Can you give me 1 second, please? Mommy's always done. Almost done. Okay, out. Thank you. As we talk about responsibilities. So, I really had to ask myself, like, do I want to stay here and see where this goes? And I did look internally to see if those opportunities for growth were there. But ultimately, I felt like as I was looking, I fell upon this opportunity with Newark Health Community Centers, and it's federally funded. They help underserved communities. If you don't have health insurance, they're still able to give you resources. They help refugees. I will never forget, during my first interview, I was like, this position was made for me. It was made for me. And she was just like, okay, you want to tell us about yourself? But seriously, it felt so right. And that opportunity doesn't happen very often. And so I'm really excited that in a couple of weeks, I'll be starting there. And just really having the opportunity to help others and to give the education and the resources, and to not treat people differently because they have different accessibility levels to healthcare. But all of that really came from the SPAA Ambassador program. It really did. I think that I developed a level of confidence being able to host my first hybrid meeting, or to host a program where I would never volunteer to be a host, but Director Shore was like, you'd make a great host. And I'm like, you sure about that? And she was like, yeah, you got it. I'm like, but she saw something in me. And so it took time for me to really like, okay, I see what she sees now. And I see the growth and I see the potential, but more importantly, I'm stepping into what I feel like is my purpose and my calling. And that's a rare feeling. It really is. And so I give so much credit to people like Director Shura being in my life, and to those that I was in the cohort with, because they really pushed me to my limit, but in a good way. And so it's, like I said, it's a pleasure to be here to share my story. And I hope maybe even next year, I'm like, hey guys, I'm chief of staff now, or, the opportunities, they're endless. They really are.
And so, Chastity, it's so interesting you say that. I was just participating, I just participated in a program with the Newark Health for Maternal Health Awareness Day. And so they hosted an event. I came in to do some workshop. The room was filled to capacity. There were mothers, there were vendors, my co-host was a 2-year-old little girl that decided to co-host, co-facilitate with me. And so I picked her up and she joined me. There were men, there were young people in the room. So I completely understand why you walked in there and claimed that this is the perfect job for you. So let me ask a question to the both of you. We talked about all of the wonderful things that you got from it. What could have been better? What do you think could have been better? How do we make the SPAA Ambassador program was started in 2020 in the height of COVID. We are now recruiting our 4th cohort. It is still a relatively new program, and it changes each year because we have a different cohort of students. Students only serve for 1 academic year. What would you, now you have some hindsight, what would you have liked to see? What can we do better? How can we make this program even better for this next cohort and for future cohorts?
So and please don't get mad at my answer, but
It's
I
okay.
really can't think of anything. No, but I can't think of anything. And I only say that because the beauty of this program is that it's student driven. And so every cohort comes in is completely different from the last one. And so I think it would start out by selecting the candidates and asking them, what do you envision? You know, you have a year, what is your goal? You know, what is something that you would like to implement on campus? And having an organization that has structure but isn't bound to that structure is really unique if you think about it, because when you join any other organization, they already know what they're doing, they already know what their goals are, and you kind of have to fit that mold. The uniqueness about this program is that it gets to fit the individuals that are participating in it. And so it can change. And that's why I'm saying, like, looking back, I'm sure my experience differs from Effie's, and it's and moving forward, the third and the fourth and the fifth, so on, it's going to change. And I think that that's okay, because our needs are going to change as a community, as a Rutgers community, Newark community. And so to be able to adapt to that, I wouldn't change a thing, honestly. I really wouldn't. And that's, I'm like, I know she's gonna be mad. I really wouldn't.
Because I'm always looking for how do you make the student experience better? Especially if you're a master student, they're not giving degrees away free these days. And so if you're paying for this, we want to ensure that, when Demian and Phil used to say that we're a SPAA family, we want to make sure that we honor that. So I'm always looking for how do we make this better. Effie, you were the inaugural cohort, and we would always talk about, okay, where did we get these overachievers and what are we going to do for the next cohort? I don't know what, they were just, you could not have asked for a better group to launch a new program virtually in COVID.
Yeah. As I was hearing Chastity talk about how the groups consolidated, that would have been pretty amazing too. I think I really love if that could continue going forward, because we had our moments where we could get together and talk about what each committee was doing. But I almost wonder if that expectation can kind of just be had in the beginning. That'd be pretty cool. But that's kind of the only thing I thought. Just having more opportunities for the SPAA ambassadors to talk and consistently talk, because yeah, we have so many great ideas and we just need a place to talk and meet. But that's my only feedback.
And it's interesting that you say that, Effie, because, and so I think that's the similar experience that Rosalind had. And so she created that for the second cohort.
We had a nice group chat. But seriously, it went from feeling like assignments or we still kept the professionalism, but we were able to connect oh, how did your project turn out? How did you do this? Because, as Dr. Shore said, we're still students. So we're able to do those check-ins that sometimes you need that. Sometimes it's nice to vent about an assignment that is due last minute, or we can have that transparency and say, hey, I'm really behind on this. Can we push this meeting back? So I'm so sorry you guys didn't have a group chat. Definitely a must moving forward.
But that goes to show you that was something that Rosalind even thought about, and where, okay, so we didn't have it, but let's make sure the next cohort have it. And so now with Monica and Shaniqua being the coordinators, it's like standard operating procedure. They give me, and the two of them update me. So this is what the response has been. This is what the other ambassadors say. And so they provide me with the update, and they're navigating this space and supporting one another. But the other thing is, to your point, they also have a safe space to even discuss the things that bother them. And I think that lends to what Effie said earlier about having a voice. That, Monica, Shaniqua and I had to talk about something the other day that, she might have been a little hesitant. but I don't want her to be hesitant. I want her to have a voice and share what is bothering her. But and also being mindful, she's graduating in May. We have this event that's going on in April. And so, you know, the stress of graduating and trying to finish out the capstone project and plan a major event. All at the same time, it can be overwhelming. But as I always stated, for the SPAA Ambassador Program, it is student-driven, it is student-led, it is student first, and that's why the support from the community, we need the financial support. Each student receives a stipend, and it is a small stipend, but for what they contribute, it is intentional for them to get more out of it than what we're asking them to put in. And so this conversation is for our community, it's for the Rutgers community, it's for family and friends to continue to donate to the SPAA Ambassador Program. And so what I'm going to ask before we get to our last questions, I'm going to pin each person, and I want you to say, why is it important to donate to the SPAA Ambassador Program? And Effie, you're going to go first.
Sounds good. Am I finished?
Yes.
Okay,
go.
okay. Hi, everyone. I want to thank you for watching this live video, first and foremost. And I want to thank everyone for joining. I would definitely say that this is one of the reasons why it's so important to donate to this wonderful ambassador program. You have amazing young women, young men leading the charge in Newark today to create a better community, to create more resources, just to strive for excellence in this place that we are going to school and this place that we call home. And you make it possible. So please, please donate so that more students can come and have this experience and take what they learn to further strive and create a community that we all want to live in. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Effie. Chastity,
She knows I
share
hate being put
why
on the
is it
spot.
important to donate to the SPAA Ambassador Program?
Absolutely. So SPAA is a family. And I will have to say that when I was applying for, my master's, a lot of schools will say like, oh, we're family oriented or like, but SPAA truly is a family. And I consider the SPAA Ambassador Program like the baby of the family. In order to see that baby grow up, it does require funding, but also requires the care and the networking and the investment. And I'm not just speaking financially, but just making sure that we're supporting one another because that's what family does. And I think that it's really important that we recognize the potential that this ambassador program has to foster leadership, to foster growth and connection. And I really think that it's important that we see this as a unique opportunity to do something different, to give Rutgers community something different, and to give the Newark community something different. We got to take care of our baby. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chastity. Thank you, Effie. And so, last question. What advice would you give to the faculty of SPAA, the staff of SPAA, the students in SPAA, and the potential students of SPAA? What advice would you give to the family?
I would say to lean on one another because the SPAA family is unique. And I recall so many professors that even in a virtual setting, because I did the online MPA, I felt like I was gaining something. I felt like not just knowledge, but these professors were investing, the staff were investing, and the students, we were able to make group chats where we had virtual study groups. I've never done that before. And it didn't feel like it was a requirement. It felt like the people that were here actually cared. And so I would just say to continue that, because, you know, there's a lot of public administration programs. I can't speak for those, but I can speak confidently about this one. And any potential student that were to come into this program, they would be welcomed with open arms, and to know that their education is going to be cared for. And same thing with the staff, the faculty. We have to lean on one another, because that's what family does. You know, if there's something that we need to give that support in one area, or we need to make sure we're staying on top of what should be done, that's the best way to do it, to make sure we communicate, to make sure that we understand that we are a family, and to embrace that mentality.
So I don't know if this is an advice, but the first thing that I thought of was keep going. And I think I'm thinking of that only because I joined during the pandemic, and I just remember how students, faculty, staff, deans, prospective students, everyone just like kept going, not giving up. Even though there was like so much ambiguity with what was going to happen in like a day, a week, a year. And that's a lot to hold and take on, and to still continue to pursue your education, and for professors to wake up and continue to teach. And for deans, there was just so much faith that I saw at Rutgers, Newark, and just Rutgers in whole, to just keep going and not give up. So this program has definitely taught me that. Just keep going. You don't know what the future holds, but just don't give up.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And so I'm going to ask, we have a couple of people in our waiting room. If there are any other questions, you can open your mic, ask any other questions that you may have for our panelists. Just let me know. Okay. With that being said, as you can see, why I hold these amazing women, professionals, near and dear to my heart, along with all of the other SPAA ambassadors, past and present. Please thank them both, Effie and Chastity. Give them a hand clap for joining us this afternoon. I could not have written a better script or commercial myself. And so I've not paid them to say anything that they said. This is all them. So go to the Rutgers Giving Day website, the SPAA Ambassador Program. Our link is go.rutgers.edu/give2 SPAA. Once again, go.rutgers.edu/give2 SPAA to continue to support the SPAA Ambassador Program. We are still doing Rutgers Giving Day until tomorrow. You will see the current SPAA ambassadors all on social media. Support, 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 support our family.